So in this video, we're going to discover how to winterize your flower farm for a great spring. Hey folks, this is Nick, and this week we are very happy to get out to Thomas Family Flower Farm in Delta County, Texas, and kind of be a part of their winter chores as they were shutting down their flower farm for the season. But it's not that simple, right? We're also starting transplants that's going to be overwintered and grown out and up-potted, and there's a lot of activities in and around this time of year as the first frosts are really hitting home. So whether if you're a beginner or an experienced grower, we'll cover why winterizing matters. There's key techniques to protect your plants and tips to make your farm thrive year after year. So stick around because this prep work will save you tons of stress and effort when spring rolls around. So in this video, we're going to cover why winterizing matters, top 5 techniques for winter prep, common mistakes to avoid, and the next steps to keep your farm thriving. So if you love growing flowers or want to start, there's more tips and tricks to take your farm to the next level. So hit that subscribe button and share this video with your fellow growers so they can prepare for the winter too. So wintertime can be a tough season for flower farmers. Freezing temperatures, heavy snowfall, and strong winds can damage your plants, wipe out soil nutrients, or even lead to disease. But with proper planning and protective measures, you can safeguard your farm and set yourself up for blooms next season. So the key is to know what to do now while the weather allows and you have a little bit more time, and avoid the mistakes that could cost your crops. So don't worry, we've got you covered just like this frost blanket. Number 1 is to clean and prep your beds. Start by removing any dead plant material or debris that can host pest and disease throughout the winter. And so for a lot of folks, they think, hey, let's just put a bunch of organic matter right on top of the bed. But the better thing to do is to maybe put down silage tarp that will hold in any cover crops that you put down, help break down any matter that's in the soil, and that also makes sure that your pests don't have a place to harbor and come back next season as some of those bugs and eggs hibernate over the winter. So rake up those leaves, cut back some of that summer growth, and go ahead and compost that. If you're growing summer perennials or herbs, you can lay down thick layers of mulch and straw to protect those roots. It also helps improve the soil for the spring. This fall, Emily and her family planted a cover crop, and they're using a silage tarp to break that down and turn that cover crop back into the nutrients that's going to feed the soil next spring. And again, that silage tarp is going to cut down on erosion and weed pressure next spring. And if you want to know more about silage tarps, we do have a great video that covers that totally. This is also a good time to use a pair of pruners to cut back branches and make room for new growth next spring. While you're there, don't forget to mulch around the base and consider protective coverings for more delicate varieties. And in an upcoming video, we tell you how to take 2 or 3 hoops, make them into a perennial cover, and protect your most delicate varieties. And in this case, we protected a tropical Texas hibiscus. For a lot of flower farmers, they do rely on bulbs for a lot of their spring flowers, but some of them do need to be dug up as they're multiplying throughout the course of the year. They need to be dried and stored. We like to do that in mesh trays as we're going along and cleaning off dirt from the bulbs. Bulb flowers like dahlias, gladiolas, dig them up after the first frost. Store them in a cool, dark place to prevent rotting. And don't forget to clean and store your tools. Residual soil and moisture can lead to rust. And while you're cleaning the tools, don't forget to sharpen the blades and oil the hinges. And if you have tender annuals or overwintering crops, low tunnels and row covers are a lifesaver. They provide an insulating barrier from cold and wind while still letting light and moisture through. Lightweight hoops and frost blankets are easy to assemble and highly effective. And because Thomas Family Flower Farm added a whole new section to their farm this year, we spent a lot of time building hoops. I think we bent like 32. We laid those out into the garden. We cut new frost blanket and got them ready. We held them down with sandbags and got the snap clamps ready to deploy for some of those high wind days. And again, we have a 4-part video series on frost blankets. All you have to do is type in the search bar or click in the link below, and that frost blanket series is going to come up, and you can learn how to bend the hoops and how to use frost blankets both in single and double layers. So here's some tips that you can use throughout the fall. So not all of your winterizing has to be at one time. Some of your hardier plants can wait, but delicate blooms need attention sooner. So take care of those first. And so that gives you time after the first frost to go ahead and dig up some of those gladiolas and other bulbs that need to come out as they've multiplied to store into the mesh trays. Tip number 2 is don't overwater before adding mulch. Wet soil can freeze and damage root systems, which kind of defeats the purpose of using the mulch. So put the mulch down dry, and if you have to water, try to just water in the areas that you have plants and not the walkways. And speaking of too much water, don't forget to check your drainage. Check that your beds are draining properly, and if need be, this is the time to add soil to help with the runoff. maybe clean out any ditches, and rake up the leaves so it doesn't build up and clog any drains or any pathways leading away from your beds into the drainage ditches. So by cleaning, mulching, and protecting and storing your tools wisely, you're not only protecting your crops, but you're also boosting your yield in the next growing season. So take it one step at a time. We know you have less daylight right now, but your hard work will pay off next spring with less weeds and bigger blooms. So start with the highest priority tasks today, like getting your low tunnels ready, especially if you have those first frosts coming on and you're trying to overwinter some of those plants that need that cold to produce the blooms. So for more farming advice, go ahead and click or subscribe to the channel and check out these 2 videos here on the screen. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, happy growing, and we will see you in the next video.